because as we know, that is what the environment is that we are living in. How are you? Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, May 13th. I think it's the 13th, right? How's everybody doing out there? I am not at home in Lake Forest. I am currently in Nevada, northern Nevada, visiting family where I have been the last few weeks, and it has been glorious. I tell you, hey Dory, how are ya? I tell you, hey Mike, how are ya? I have been in northern Nevada for 2 weeks visiting family, and it is awesome, quiet, not crowded, no anxiety. It just doesn't have the same look and feel as Southern California. So it's been a lovely change of pace for me. And silver lining out of this COVID-19 pandemic is that I'm able to run my whole business, including teaching all of my classes and my privates and semi-privates virtually on our Zoom platform. So it's been wonderful in a really trying time for a lot of people. So thumbs up to silver linings. So today I wanted to briefly talk about the biggest lesson, I think, in my opinion, that you can take away from the COVID-19 pandemic. And this week I'm going to put a shout out to a gentleman who I've been following. I love his theories. He's a doctor. His name's Dr. David Katz, K-A-T-Z. He was just on a podcast that I listened to, the Rich Roll podcast. So if you're podcast people and you want to hear his version and his opinion of the pandemic, he's an epidemiologist, he's a medical doctor, he studies, and public health officer, and he studies the wholeness of the dangers of the disease. So not just the physical dangers of people getting sick, people passing, but also the larger problem of what happens when we have a society that the economy is shut down, depression is spiking, people have food insecurity. Whoa, hi Tirza, how are you? From all the way across the pond in Europe. I don't know what time it is, but hello. So Dr. David Katz, he is what I'm talking about. Dr. David Katz, when people have job loss, unemployment, domestic abuse, all those things, his plan of attack and his way that he would like to solve the problem is looking at the wholeness of the disease, and he supports what he calls as a vertical interdiction. It's a very fancy words, which means that he wants to protect the most vulnerable, right? Protect the most vulnerable, and then let the rest of society start to live their lives, catch the virus, build up an immunity, etc. It's more of the way that Sweden has been doing it. So if that interests you, Dr. David Katz. But what made me think of use him today is he said a very interesting thing in this podcast, and that is the biggest wake-up call for America should be that you should live a healthy lifestyle and you need to take care of your health. And this is why. He really wants to see, and I don't think this is going to happen, unfortunately, he really wants to see a national, from the government, federal government, a national call to action for getting healthy America. Because, as he's pointed out, and the data continues to support this, that the chances of you contracting COVID-19 as a healthy young person, not in the high risk categories, is very low. It's like if you are exposed, the chances of you getting it still are about 20%. If you get it, the chances of you then actually getting sick are like a super low percentage. And then the chances of you ending up in the hospital is like a fraction of a percent. And then the chances of you passing away from COVID-19 as a young, healthy individual is like a fraction of a percent. It's very low. The majority, unfortunately, of the people who have succumbed to this disease are those that are in the high-risk category. So elderly, right? 60 plus is their high-risk category, but really even older than that, 70 plus. And then those who have underlying health conditions. And this is what I want to talk about today. The underlying health conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes. If you are overweight, your chances of ending up in the hospital and then potentially passing from the disease, that is what is an acute problem. So my biggest takeaway from this whole entire situation, as awful as it is, is that it should be a wake-up call to you if you have any of these underlying conditions, because it truly does put you at a greater risk for this particular condition, this particular disease, right? The data is showing it hands down that if you're healthy, most likely you're going to make it through. If you are not healthy, yeah, you should be concerned. So I think that that is the biggest thing to take away. If you are someone who is taking high blood pressure medication, if you're someone who has diabetes type 2 because of poor diet or lack of exercise, address it. If you're someone who is in a heart disease risk, address it, right? And the beauty of that is that all of these things are preventable, and even if you haven't already prevented it and you are suffering from any of these, most of them are reversible if you change your lifestyle. So wake up call, give me a thumbs up if you agree, right? If you are overweight and you've been thinking about losing weight, if there is any time that you should get motivated to change, it is now. Because as we start to open up the society again, open up the economy, we will probably see a second wave, right, of the pandemic spreading, because people are going to be out and about living their lives. And if you don't want to be stuck in your house until a vaccine is available, which who knows how long that's going to be, then take care of yourself. And the medical definition of being overweight or obese is actually quite low. So if we take your body fat for a female and you are at, the higher end of 25 to 30%, you need to lose a little weight. If you're over 30%, that's considered obese in the medical world, right? That means that is putting you at risk of all these other things I'm talking about, heart disease, stroke. And for men, it's even lower. So get your body fat tested as soon as you can. Weigh yourself. Think about in your mind what you want to change in your lifestyle so that you can be healthy. Your immune system is healthy. Change your diet. Start exercising. Because guess what? That is going to be what makes you healthy and strong and able to combat the disease if you do get it. That's it for me today. It was a little bit of a soapbox rant, but sometimes you guys get that from me on the Wednesday Facebook Lives. I wasn't here last week. I took a day off. I had a conflict, but I will be here next week. I'm always here around 7:30 in the morning Pacific time on Wednesdays. So, biggest takeaway from COVID-19, get healthy. Underlying conditions are what the data is showing is putting you at risk. So if you have any of those, let's start taking the steps to get healthier, reduce that blood pressure, lose that weight, reduce your stress, make your inside strong so that you're one of the people that can be part of the solution and not part of the problem, right? Okay, go out, enjoy your day, get some fresh air, get some exercise, and I will see you guys next week.